Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. Hope you are all well and safe. I've been drawing in Krita. I thought I'd try the ink brushes. I've never really had a play around with them, and you know what? They are really good. I thought I would do a black and white sketch in Krita, and then I started to look at the art pens, or the inking pens I should say, and I thought it would be a good idea to do a drawing with the ink pens. I'm trying to load the palette and talk at the same time, and I'm a bloke so I can't multitask. But what I've done, I've just clicked this tableau and chosen ink, so all my brushes are now the ink brushes, so that's cool. And I'm probably only going to need black. I might do a little bit of a grey. I've got all these cool brushes to start with, so I quite like this first one, which is when I do pen and ink, I love to use a brush because I can get these thick lines. Make the brush a bit bigger, just by a bit of pressure like that, you see, and then I can fill in and do fine lines. So I love using the brushes, so that's what I'm going to use for this. That's it. Get it all done. Back to beginning and start. Now this is obviously a black and white photo, but it's of a shop, a little art gallery that's in a village called Castle Donington, and it was owned by a friend of mine because it shut down recently, not because of COVID virus or anything like that, or sort of being shut down because can't trade, but it closed down just before that. But it was a really cool shop called the Two Birds Gallery, and it was called the Two Birds Gallery because two ladies owned it, and it was really cool because they supported local artists. You didn't have to be famous or anything like that. And I was always supposed to be exhibiting there, and I'm not very good at getting my act together, to be honest, when it comes to doing exhibitions and things. I used to once upon a time, but in recent years I kind of don't get too excited about all of that, and I sort of take a lot of cajoling and pushing for me to get to produce anything for an exhibition. Anyway, Mel, who owned Two Birds Gallery, or one of the owners of the Two Birds Gallery, actually asked me to exhibit. So I said, yeah, okay, I will. I'll get some paintings together. And I did. And typical, just as I got them together, they decided to close the gallery because it wasn't being supported by the locals, by obviously buying pictures and stuff. So they had to close down. So I never did get to do my exhibition. But what I did do the sign. So you see the... just love this brush. You see the two birds on the sign on the fascia board. I actually I designed that, and the brief was produce a sign with two birds on it, because obviously I knew the owners quite well, or one of the owners really well, and not the other one not so much. And I said, okay, I can do you a two birds sign. So the first one I did them, I did penguins, did two penguins, and she says, and I don't think Mel knew, when I was joking sometimes, or if I was being serious. And she's going, well, penguins is not really what we're looking for. I don't think we want penguins. I said, okay, leave it with me, I'll sort something out. And she still left me with this brief of doing two birds. So I don't know, what did I do then? I don't know, maybe a couple of vultures or something like that. Anyway, I did these string of sign designs for her. And it wasn't, I was working for a sign company at that time. And I don't know, I think they sort of thought it was funny and saw the joke, because they weren't too worried that I wasn't actually getting the brief done. But I was having a little bit of a joke with them. Anyway, in the end, I did come up with this one, and they really liked it, with the two birds. Just dead simple. I did some really complicated stuff, but they just wanted this really simple design, which is what we came up with. And as you can see in the window, they had some really nice stuff in there, and it's all local artists, you know, and they'd got sort of all sorts of things, prints on cushions, and lots of paintings hanging up, and lots of cards designed by local people, local artists. It was really nice. It was just a shame that the community didn't buy into it quite as much as the artists did, I suppose. And it wasn't that the art wasn't good. It was really, you know, there was some good stuff in there. This brush, it just feels, I can never get over how good Krita is. For a free app, this brush just feels so realistic. It feels really good. You can get these fine lines and then a little bit of pressure, and you're straight in with the, you know, dark colours, the blacks, the big bold blacks. I really should just sort of concentrate, just spend a little bit of time to get some of these shapes in before I start whacking in loads of tones. So unfortunately, if you go to, this was in Castle Donington in Leicestershire in the UK. Castle Donington is the home of Download, the rock festival, so you may be aware of that. Unfortunately, this gallery isn't there now. And if you're going to Download, you're probably not wanting to pick up a piece of fine art, to be honest. You might. I'm not saying that people that go to rock festivals don't like fine art. What I'm saying is, it's not what's at the forefront of your mind on that weekend. You're probably wondering how you're going to keep dry if you're at Download, because it is notoriously wet weather at Download every year. It always seems to rain. Oh, I've got some lines in now, and I think we are sort of getting there as regards got everything in the right place, so I can start getting excited about putting some of these tones in. Have I done this right? I think I've done it right. Yeah, I think that's right there. Then we've got this one here. That's it. I just love it when I can make a big bad mark like that. Lovely way of sketching. I think I'm going to have to get into some greys or some serious fine hatching, one or the other with this. I'll probably do hatching. I think that's what people like to see, how you can sort of get the grey tones. It's easy to just choose a grey paint and get some grey going off and tones with that, but it's a lot harder to do it with the hatching. So I think I'll do it with the hatching. I wonder if I can do the whole thing with this one brush. That would be quite cool. So put this painting in. So I never did get to exhibit in the Two Birds Gallery. I will forever regret that, I think. Only because Mel asked me so many times, and she used to have another gallery previous to this one where I did exhibit. And I've known Mel for like years and years and years. She used to be, first met her properly when she signed on to one of my watercolour painting classes years previous. So, and also to a decorative paint class she came to, and then I was teaching a watercolour class which she came to as well, maybe a year or so after that. So that's how I got to know her. Then she opened her own gallery and, asked me to exhibit, and I never did. I'm so bad at times. I'll sort of put these vase things in and just sketching out some of the shapes, and then I can start hatching around these. And I'm making them up really, sort of loosely looking at what we've got going off. But a lot of the time I'm just going to put these cards on, sort of hanging on, or in a frame, a swivel, I don't know what you call it. What do you call these things? Exhibition thing. We've got a few. Oh, that's too high up. Let's rub that top one out. It's better. A few things on here. So, Castle Donington, I see. If you ever get to go to Castle Donington, if you do go to a rock festival, or you're visiting Donington or anything, the high street, there's loads of little craft shops and things and stuff. It's a really nice street. And there's a bar there called the Apri. I did all the sign work for that. And there's a shop called, I think it's called Junk, and it's like an antique shop. I did all the artwork for that. So you get to see some of my, if you do go visiting, you'll get to see some of my sign stuff that I do. I don't do much of that now. In fact, I very rarely do. And it was when I worked for another company, most of it. And I'd take the odd job on, but not hardly anything at all. Just look at this lovely black ink that you can. I just love it. I love doing this with ink as well. Of course, when you do it with ink, you've got to be really careful, because once it's on, that's it. You ain't never getting it off. I can hatch with that as well. Just hatch that in. That in. I might leave the other one. Just do some sort of loose hatching like that. Bit wider apart. Right, now let's get some darks in on this as well. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put in lots of black, and then leave the areas that I want to be grey, and then do that with the hatching, and I'll show you how that works. Got the black in, but I like, you know, you could do this all with hatching, but it would take forever. That's why I like using brushes, because you can get this, you can just crack it in so fast, really, really quick. Oh, look. Yeah. Notice I'm not making all of these shapes exactly square. That'd be a big mistake. You don't want to be doing that. Yeah. I think that'll sort of do for that. And then I can start hatching away. Let's get this bush in. I think I've got a video on how I do these leaves and things. But this brush is great for this, because, you know, you can do these fine little leaves, and then you can just do a big splodge of colour like that. There we go. Could do with using the eraser, maybe. It's nice and small. You just put a few little. I like to use an eraser rather than white, and the reason for that is, if I was going to export this to print, I probably won't this one, but if I did and I was using a PNG file, I could make it all the white transparent. So you could, if you was doing a t-shirt design or something like that, you could use the white as the colour of the shirt, as it were. But if I've used white ink on it, that wouldn't work, because it would actually print out as white, which would be no good at all. So I'm just going to do a little squiggly line for my leaves on here. And then I can hatch that in a second or two. Shall I do this one? Yeah, let's get this one in. Just squiggling, really. It's great to do. You ought to. I recommend everybody have a go at this if you never tried it before, and you can do it in. It works brilliantly in Procreate. Obviously, I'm in Krita now, but this technique, Procreate's got some really nice brushes that you can do. Tchaikovsky sketches, brilliant. Paper 53, I think it'd work well in that. Oh my word, my phone's just cut in and telling me that it's found Paper 53 is an app. Interesting. Right, let's start doing some hatching then. Let's start hatching this in. I'm still going to use... I could choose a different brush, a fine brush, but with this I can adjust thickness of the lines and have thin lines, thick lines. Or I could use a pen that's more like a drafting pen. Maybe I should change pens. Let's do that. Let's just undo that. And try, because we've got all these pens, we might as well use them, haven't we? I think I might have to take that out with an eraser. There we go. Right, drafting pen. Let's see what we've got. Drafting pen. What looks like? Oh, look at that quill. I hadn't seen that. That looks like a drafting pen. Oh yeah, look at that fine line. That's what we're talking about. Can I make that a bit thicker? Yeah, because I do want it. I can use that fine line in places, but I think here I need it to be a little bit thicker. And I'm going to use a different hatch on each flat surface, if you see what I mean. Like that. And then I can use the razor and just lift out the bits, I suppose. Could go around that edge. Take out that sort of line around that. There we are. See how it's working? Let's do these. So now all these highlights are in shadow, and I can go the other way. Put some things even more in shadow. Follow the contours of the shapes of things that you're shading. I thought I'd drawn... It's like card. That card I put the pattern of the angel on. I might change that in a minute. Oh, there we go. And then I can just bring that thickness of that pen down a bit. Do some fine lines. I'm liking. I'm just sort of cross hatching and going over it different directions. There we go, that card. I'm going to actually put that card back in because it stands out quite nicely behind all of those others. Like that. There we go. And I put that coming out. I don't want to repeat that angel on both the things. So, there we go. Oops. I didn't put the TB in, did I? I should. I'm starting to look at where I was before. I was just scribbling stuff in willy-nilly. I'm now thinking of what's actually there. So we've got... Maybe I should have done this originally, but now I'm sort of interested in the shapes. Whereas before I wasn't really. Just take that out a bit. I suppose I ought to go back to my paintbrush just to put this T and B in so that it looks the same, if you know what I mean. There we are. There. Now I can go back to my newly discovered hatching pen. Hatch over that. Just change that slightly. Painting on here. We've got a tree on it, so I can sort of loosely sketch a picture on here. I think that's allowed. And then hatch that as well. At the top of my little sketch. If you can call it a sketch. Whoops. And we've got a shadow. So I need to make the brush a bit bigger, I think. Oh, I changed the colour of that somehow. I have. Let's just undo that. Oh. Still not right. Let's go back to there. There we are. That's it. I got it. Put a dark shadow. Look at that. You can see it's almost throwing that into black, and then these need to be in dark shadow. Maybe hatch that way as well. I think that could probably do with another few lines over it. There we are. Right, let's hatch all of this. Like it. I think this is the first time I've actually done a sketch in Krita. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I don't think I've done any others. Changed that colour again, haven't I? It's very annoying. Go that way as well. Cross-hatching this. And then if we look at the photo, there's just a couple of highlights. We can take my eraser and like pop a little cup in there. Nothing there. And that's it. Yeah, now. Liner again. That's that window done. So I'm now back on the exterior of the shop. And it's just a matter of going over wherever you think there's a shadow and popping that in. Actually, what I need to do is go back to my brush and put this in. I missed this one out. Pattern there. There. Oh, that's too big. Two. Birds. Gallery. Am I going to get gallery in? Yeah. Cool. Two birds gallery. Put my little birds in. That brush a bit smaller, I think. This one in as well. Now you'll see the top of the birds is missing. So what I should do, when I've got them in, go to the eraser again and put the top half in white. Probably not quite right that, but I'll sort that in a second. Better. Go back to that pen. There we are. I could have zoomed in, I suppose, and made life a hell of a lot easier for me. And then just hatch over the top. Like that. I'm not going to do the writing. I'm not into writing, to be honest. Not in paintings. Got that shadow there. Do I need vertical lines as well? Let's put a few in. Let's see what we get. What it looks like. See if we like it. I think that's all right. And then there, and there, You know, that looked like a checkerboard. Didn't like it in the end. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rub that out. I don't like it. And I'm going to just put some diagonal lines closer together. I had to use the eraser because I just don't think I got enough undos. Right, let's try. Like that, look. Nice and close together. Now, some people would argue that you should have the same gap and everything between your hatch lines, but I can't get into that. Way too much fussiness. Right, doorway. I'm going to do this each element at a time. I think I took this photo really early in the morning. I was out for a morning walk, sort of before everybody was up and about. The streets, the shops weren't open yet, definitely, and there was nobody really in the streets. So, which is unusual. Usually, you wouldn't have got this shot because there'd be cars parked in front of the shop. I'm going to draw a line down there. Get it straight if I can, and use that as a guide, but then I'm going to take it out when I've done. It's annoying when I'm pressing the buttons. Yeah. Now the door has got some dimension to it. The box in. And the same with this shadow of this tree or this bush. I'm just going to go like this, kind of get the basic shape that I want, and then I'm going to use the eraser to take out the holes. See if that works. There we go. Sort of does what I want. So you couldn't do that with ink, could you? That would be a big no-no. That's it. Match this in. Typical left-hander look, all the strokes going top left to bottom right. This feels so uncomfy to me going the other way. Just take the eraser and put some of these highlights in like that, look. Trick there. I think now we need thicker lines. Just for this. Oh, that's too thick. Look at the fluffy edge, the fuzzy edge. We don't want that. I think I'm going to go back to my paintbrush. That'll give me the nice edges I want. Let's just undo that. I don't like that fuzzy edge. I'll get rid of that. There we go. So I can do fine lines or I can do thick lines. Just for this foreground, really. Like that. Catch that with very thin. Shadow under the sill. This is getting very close to being finished. Yeah, I think I need a little bit of detail down there. I need my fine liner, and I need it really fine for this. Oh, that's too. That's it. That's what I want. Let's just undo all of that. Batch in there. Bit of detail along the top there. I mean, when I say detail, I mean, really? Is it really? Probably not. Shadow down this side. So this is a nice little memory for me because, you know, I like Mel, I like the shot, I like the idea that it was, you know, they were supporting local artists and everything. And he's gone. You know, it was a sad day when it closed down. So it's nice to have a memory. I think that's nearly done, you know. A little bit of hatching on here. Yeah. That's it. The Two Birds Gallery. Let me just sign it. I do think though, Mel, you could have weeded. Done a little bit of weeding. Got this grass out of here, look. Shoddy that was. That you left that to grow. Here we are. That's it. The Two Birds Gallery. A little pen and ink sketch done in Krita. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, a big thumbs up as always is much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I've got lots of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. And don't forget everybody, keep painting, keep safe and keep sane. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.